Everybody, welcome to Texas News Studio. I'm your host, Mark Myers. We got a lot going on in the world, as you well know, so we're going to get you caught up on the latest headlines, and there's so many of them that it's incredible. But let's get you caught up on some of the developments going on tonight here in the Middle East. And before I get going, good to see everybody in here over on YouTube. We came in a little bit late tonight. We're just kind of watching the latest developments to see if something will kick off in the Middle East. The bottom line is nothing has happened yet, but we do believe that things will be heating up pretty soon. So we want to get you caught up on the latest developments. Again, there's Jan moderating over on YouTube tonight. There's Clint in here. Good to see you. And many others that are joining us as well. And then also good to see Donald on Twitch. And everybody, there's Weewick. And 143 of you on Twitch. If I missed you all, sorry, Pete. And there's Pete. Oh, do we got sound, right? Hope. Testing, 1, 2, 3. You're up. We're up. And then over on Rumble as well, there's Jacob, Carrot Stringer, Deep South is in here. Okay, guys, let's get going here. Thanks, everybody. Let's get you caught up on the news. First off in here, some of the moderators were already sharing this over in Twitch. Some of this is going to be a little bit of a repeat of what we already had shared up in the chat. That's why it's great if you all are monitoring the developments with our news channel. It's always running on Rumble and Twitch. So if you're missing a news update, chances are the moderator has it in there. So there's a lot of different ways to get the news. We got it with me being up on screen, the news that's up on screen, news that's in the ticker, news that's scrolling on the ticker, plus moderators that are sharing news as well. So there's a lot of different ways to keep you updated. But again, these are the later developments that I've got for you this evening. One, Iranian officials say that if Israel inflicts major harm, the responses under consideration include a barrage of up to 1,000 ballistic missiles, escalated attacks by Iranian proxy militant groups in the region, and disrupting the flow of global energy supplies and shipping moving through the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. That's coming from the New York Times. Beyond that, Iranian officials tell the New York Times that Supreme Leader Khomeini has ordered the military to develop multiple military plans for responding to an Israeli attack. So that's going on. These are kind of the late developments going on tonight. Some of the other developments we got popping up in here tonight. We've had Channel 12 was saying that Israel seems to have reached its peak for preparing for the attack on Iran. So they have gotten everything pretty well prepared for now. Their Air Force has conducted maneuvers. The home front has held discussions, and the defenses are ready for any seems to realize that the Israeli response is approaching and is continuing its efforts to try to reduce it. They've been trying to tamper things down, but the bottom line is something is coming. Also, coming from Channel 12, the Army is working to prepare the public for a possible Iranian response to the Israeli attack within a short period. Again, they keep on saying it's imminent and coming. We'll wait and see about that, but that's what they've been saying, and a lot of the other channels in Israel have been saying pretty much the same thing, plus our own sources here in the United States. Also, the Islamic resistance in Iraq has claimed responsibility for the launch of a drone earlier today. This is from the city of Eilat in southern Israel, with the drone having crashed before reaching Israeli territory. This is new. We got some reports here that says part of Israel's operation against Iran will be through Jordan, they're saying now. Issue was discussed with U.S. and Israel officials beforehand. So we're looking at some operations going through Jordan, is what they're saying. That's new within the last 20 minutes or so. We've had a lot of EAMs earlier today, the urgency action messages, but I believe they kind of tampered down. I haven't had them up myself in a while. So we're keeping an eye on that. Also, we had some B-52s up. There's also military drills going on. Operation Steadfast Noon going globally right now. So there's been a lot of military traffic going on the EAMs. I've seen the B-52s up across the United States earlier today. At least I think I saw 4 up on ADSB. But again, a lot of training. I want to show you this. This next report is coming from Zero Hedge. And this is some of the potential weapons and targets we could be dealing with. One, Hezbollah targets Tel Aviv, or they're going to be targeting, with large Iranian missiles launched from underground silos. Hezbollah targets Tel Aviv with large Iranian missiles launched from underground silos. Says the Israeli army says that over 120 rockets have been fired from Hezbollah in Lebanon on Thursday. Let's go on a little bit further, though. Some of the launches the past 24 hours appear to have included large Iranian-made surface-to-surface missiles. Hezbollah channels have published the recent launch of this beast below. These are the Qadar-2 surface-to-surface cruise missiles from underground silos, targeting Israeli territory, one regional war monitor wrote. Says this marked a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict. So this is actually going on, showcasing Hezbollah's growing missile capabilities and its increasing reliance on advanced military technology. So they began showcasing this about a week or more ago. And at least one large explosion was heard in or above northern Tel Aviv on Wednesday. We've been hearing some big explosions lately, and this could be some of them. Here is a video showing, I'm not going to put this up, but again, footage showing the launch of an Iranian missile from an underground silo here. I want to check it out over on Zero Hedge. Again, Israel has continued to have large attacks on South Beirut, also in southern Lebanon. Neither side has issued specific details on what exactly is unfolding day to day in the ground war in southern Lebanon. Some regional reports have claimed that Hezbollah has halted the Israeli army's advance. While impossible to verify with certainty, one Lebanon-based news source cited the following. And you can see the information there. We've had these different reports about the number of dead, the number of wounded, but keep an eye on it for sure. Going on to some of the other developments I got here for you. This was interesting today. This has been making the news. Russia provided targeting data for the Houthis as they attacked Western ships in the Red Sea with missiles and drones earlier this year, the Wall Street Journal reports. I don't know if we can read this article or not. Let me look and see if we can read it or not. It says Russia provided targeting data for Yemen's Houthi rebels as they attacked Western ships in the Red Sea with missiles and drones earlier this year, helping the Iranian-backed group assault a major artery for global trade and further destabilizing the region. It says the assistance, which hasn't been previously reported, shows how far Russian President Vladimir Putin is willing to go to undermine U.S.-led Western economic and political order. Says the spokesman for the Russian government did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Houthi spokesman declined to comment as well. From the Wall Street Journal, you can take it or leave it when it comes to the Wall Street Journal, but that's what they're saying anyway, that Russia provided targeting data for Houthis as they assaulted the Red Sea area. Also, this has been making the news earlier today in terms of the pushback. We had some reports earlier that we had to delay because of the document leak, but they're saying, other officials are saying, the War Zone Thursday morning says, we have no indication that Israel is delaying any action because of the document leak. A U.S. official told the War Zone Thursday morning, would steer you away from that. That's coming from Tyler Rogaway. U.S. pushes back on claim Israel delaying Iran attack over document leak. He usually has some pretty good intel, so I would think that's pretty good sourcing. Good to see Desert in here on YouTube tonight. Good to see everybody. Don't think the batteries should be okay, guys. Let me know if we got a mic battery. I think we're okay. Somebody's saying the audio is going bad. I don't know, guys. Hang on, let's see. Let me see if I can hear it real quick. Let me double check. Let's see here. Oh, do we have music coming in too? Or that's old. Sorry. How about now? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. Oh, do we have music coming in? I think you're okay. I don't know. Well, guys, I don't really know. Sometimes we get some crackles in here. If it becomes a problem, I'll just have to get some sort of... This is my wireless mic. So, I don't know. If it continues on, I'll just have to use another microphone eventually. But this is all I got at the moment, unfortunately. Could be just where I had it on my jacket here. I think it was just the jacket itself causing it. Yeah, I had the music up earlier. Okay, well, let's just continue on. Sometimes moving the mic around will make a difference. So, again, this is coming up from Scent Defender, the same thing we've been telling you about. Several Iranian officials have told the New York Times that the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, has ordered the armed forces to prepare for war with Israel, but only if Israel decides to launch a large-scale attack against Iran. Military defense officials have reportedly prepared and are preparing several responses to an Israeli strike, with the scope of these responses depending on the severity of the attack. If Israel only launches a limited strike against Iranian military bases, as well as warehouses and sites containing missiles and drones, Iran may possibly not respond. However, Khomeini has directed that a response be certain if Israel decides to target the Iranian oil industry, energy sector, nuclear facilities, or senior officials, coming from the New York Times. So we've been watching the situation with North Korea as well, guys. Again, we were telling you yesterday that we have troops that have been spotted, and now that they were getting into the combat zone, I think this was near Kursk, had reports on that earlier today. So things are really, really changing very rapidly in the war. And it's concerning because South Korea might be sending some special troops in as well. So things could get really very interesting, pretty dicey before we know it. So we've been keeping an eye on that today. Let me find that report. Might take a second here. And then I've got a UFO story to share with you. So a little bit of everything coming up in here. Let me show you this real quick. This is coming from the New York Post. Of course, an ad is blocking me here. North Korea troops reveal Putin's Ukraine's pickle no more cannon fodder. Says the war for Ukraine is widening. Again, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin confirmed Wednesday that North Korea is dispatching thousands of troops to Russia, marking a significant escalation in its conflict with Kyiv. Again, Vladimir Putin is pulling Kim Jong-un deeper into the war, yet he's also revealing weaknesses. Kremlin is rolling low on recruitable troops at home. Says North Korea's infusion of fresh soldiers will remain practically risk-free for Pyongyang unless the United States returns to its aggressive sanctions posture against the Kim regime. Says Russia is no stranger to employing foreign armies. Cossacks warriors famously fought for the Tsars in the centuries past. At the end of World War II, the Red Army bolstered its ranks with Mongolian troops when it invaded China. Today, the TikTok soldiers of Chechen warlord are scattered across Ukraine's front lines. And now, after 3 years of fighting, Putin is running low on cannon fodder. So basically, they have a NATO-style mutual defense pledge. Both promise to aid the other in the event of war. Says North Korean troops gain valuable combat experience if they survive. In exchange, the cost to North Korea are a pittance. Says a force of 12,000 soldiers is small potatoes compared to Kim's million-man army. Says his related shipments of around 3 million artillery shells to Russia is also a small fraction of his total stockpile. Says the North Korean artillery on the battlefield has been much worse than the drones, the Iranian-designed kamikaze drones that Russia has used to pound Kyiv's troops and infrastructure. So they are getting involved. I'll have to find that report about South Korea, but I don't have that up at the moment. The next one in here. Here it is right here about the combat zone, guys. I want to share this because that was just about what's going on, but here's the specific information. This is coming from Euro News here. Let me show you this real quick. Look at this. First North Korean troops at zone reports. It's coming from Euro News. The first North Korean military units trained in eastern Russia have arrived in the combat zone, Kyiv reported on Thursday. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the North Korean soldiers were already spotted in Russia's border region of Kursk on Wednesday. According to Ukrainian authorities, Pyongyang troops arriving in Russia are being trained at 5 military training grounds located in the country's east. Says the soldiers whom Russia intends to use in the war against Ukraine are given several weeks of training before their deployment. Guys, you know, just all these developments that are happening very recently with the war in the Middle East, the troops coming in from North Korea into Russia ultimately to fight against Ukraine. Now, it reminds me, not exactly, but like a little like, the Armageddon and all that, where all the troops of the world come together. But of course, I'm not talking like that. But you can see how these events bring different nations together from various parts of the globe. We can already see this developing right now. Who would have thought a year or two ago that North Korea would be getting troops all the way over to Russia to fight against Ukraine, or that South Korea might eventually get involved in this, and how that could affect us back here in the States. So you can see all these different pieces that are starting to move into place, and you can certainly see how it could play ultimately into biblical times for those of us that believe in the Bible and the end times, that it's pretty easy to see how all that can play out. We're just getting a very preliminary show as to what's happening. So we are seeing some incredible times, guys, that is developing on the world stage. I don't remember anything like this in my lifetime, and we're still yet on the precipice. Nothing has happened yet. We're just kind of in the waiting stage. It does feel like that once the Middle East starts taking off, and really, especially if it really gets going, kind of have a feeling that some of these other events may start ticking and going off as well. So we're right at that stage where something could really blow, and it might be a lot of different fronts coming up all at once. So who knows what a year from now will be, or if we're even going to be around a year from now. So it's very interesting, very incredible times that we're in. And of course, independent media like us, we try to get you updated what's going on, because the mainstream media is not going to be covering this type of information, at least not to this detail. They're going to be worried about things that are not really that important, to say the least. Oh, by the way, guys, this is coming from the Liberty Daily. It says the 911 calls from the first Trump assassination attempt has been released. Let me see if I can pull this up. Trending politics. Hang on one second. Let me pull this up. Pete says, did you hear about Turkey's new deal with allies? No, I have not seen that. Not at all. Some people are saying that the audio is cracking up again, guys, so I don't know if we are or not. If we are, guys, I'll have to get a new mic or something later on, or just call it a night on our broadcast. So I don't really know why. It shouldn't be doing that. Unless I got something else. Who knows? I really don't know. Crazy. So let's continue on the best we can. Number of harrowing 911 calls from former President Trump's July 13th rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, have been released to the public for the first time. Says on Wednesday, a series of chilling 911 calls from the shooting were released to the public for the first time. Let me just show this up to you, up on screen here. Trying to find if there's an actual video. Oh, there's it right here. Here's a. I don't think I want to play the audio of it. I just want to make you aware. Check it out over at Trending Politics if you want to listen to that. Somebody says it only cuts out when you pull pages. Yeah, I think we've had something. I've had problem with the HDMI cable lately on my computer, which I guess I need to get another HDMI, so I don't know. Or use the other computer next time. Says Trump favored by betting markets and electoral college polls. Prediction markets give Trump a 64.1% chance of victory, while traditional polls show Kamala leading the popular vote by 2 points. Good. 5x5, guys. Good. Look, Kamala, Trump calls... Oh. I don't even want to read her. Forget it. Let me show you the UFO real quick. I found this interesting right here. I don't know if this page is going to cut us out again with the audio or not. This is when I have these big pages that it happens, but if it does. Anyway, says an Air Force base in Indiana has become the latest hotspot for mysterious UFOs after residents spotted swarms of fast-moving glowing orbs in the sky. This is near an Indiana air base. This is near Kokomo, which sits just 13 miles south of the Grissom Joint Air Base. Reported seeing hovering, flickering lights that vanished into the thin air. This was reported around October the 7th and echo recent UFO waves near military sites, including the Joint Base Langley in Virginia, where officials reported seeing flashing red, green, and white lights that were moving at rapid speeds. Says the mysterious objects in Indiana, however, were shared by civilians online, where experts have weighed in to determine the source. Says some suggested the lights were flares dropped from planes, possibly military aircraft, but one witness shared Doppler weather radar evidence of a huge rectangle UFO with a clearly defined vapor shock wave seen the morning after. No explanation has been publicly provided by the U.S. Air Force personnel. There it is right here. There's a little bit of, look at that. That's interesting. Compressed vapor trails appear to be in excess of 150 miles long. Judging by the image size, rectangle would be approximately 20 miles in length. But somebody says they look very clearly like military flares. The telltale signs are the lights being in a row and lighting up and disappearing in succession. Says, in addition to the Grissom base to the north, noted several other USAF bases surrounding Kokomo that may have been responsible for the late night light show. Says Kokomo is around 50 miles away from the Camp Fort Wayne Air National Guard Base. And also the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton is about 150 miles away. Says he's personally the spokesperson for the Mutual UFO Network, said he's personally witnessed and videotaped just how eerie military flares can look under the cover of darkness. We'll keep you updated either way. Well, I'll be live on election night. I'm planning to. We'll have the news up one way or the other for sure. Yeah, I'll be here. You probably heard about this. He'll be one of the first things addressed. Trump says he will fire Jack Smith within 2 seconds if he wins the election. It's coming over from the Gateway Pundit. I'm just going to put these headline guys up on screen here. So check it out over there. But all these things you heard about Trump and how he was going to do away with the income tax and do it with the let me pull that article up here. Where was it? Give me 1 second. This will be from the tariffs, but I wanted to find the some articles about it. Of course, they're all negative about it, but anyway, the bottom line is this is reported all over the news: New York Times, Forbes, New York, but no income tax. Again, where they rely on tariffs to fund the government. So I'll just put this headline up so y'all can see. That was making the news today as well. I really just want to get you caught up more on the Middle East more than anything else, guys. I wasn't going to do like a complete news roundup tonight because this is more focused on the Middle East to kind of keep us more targeted for our news coverage tonight. I've been looking at through some of the different sources coming out tonight, but it's again, like the last few nights, it's again been relatively quiet. Our moderators would also be posting things, especially over on Twitch, if something was popping right now. But again, largely everything is pretty quiet looking at the sources that I normally focus in on, and I just haven't really seen anything at the moment. Just going over some of the other trending news of the day, Mel Gibson endorses Trump, criticizes Harris. We had these Israeli airstrikes on Beirut's southern suburbs. What else do I got in here that I could give you news on? These are just different developments. We also had earlier today, this morning, a large fire that broke out at a U.S. Forces Korea USFK storage facility, southeastern port city of Busan in South Korea. What else we got in here? What do we got here? The Menendez brothers, you may remember them. They could be eligible for parole. By the way, Microsoft is voting on Bitcoin investment, the shareholders. So again, the Bitcoin is not going away. It's getting more and more involved in investments and ETFs, and now even Microsoft shareholders to vote on Bitcoin investment. Miami-Dade County early vote flips Republican. Nevada voting trends are shifting right. Then in terms of Trump is being favored right now by the betting markets and electoral college polls. Prediction markets give Trump a 64.1% chance of victory, while traditional polls show Kamala leading popular vote by 2 points. Electoral projections remain tight. Let me show you this real quick here. RCP map shows Trump at 219 electoral votes versus Kamala's at 215, with 104 votes still in toss-up states. Silver Bulletin's model gives Trump a 53.7% chance of winning the Electoral College. Let me show you this here. This is Silver Bulletin. Trump 53.7 for the Electoral College. Harris, though, has a 73% popular vote probability. Predicted electoral votes toss-up, Harris 269, Trump 268. So we'll see. Again, Polymarket, again, showing different story at 64.1%, Trump, Harris 36%. Live and accurate forecast by the world's largest prediction market. By the way, the election is going to be only about 11 days away. Stephen over on Rumble is saying right now, Pennsylvania poll, Wick Insight, Trump 48%, Harris 48.0%, that's plus 0.8, Harris 47.2%, other 1.7. In-games reporting also from Stephen about 15 minutes ago. First unit of North Korean troops deployed to front lines in western Russia. Got that going on. This is developing here. Look at this. Again, we've been telling you about these troops, but now, just like we say, we heard some talk about troops. Now they're up to the front lines in western Russia. This is coming from UNEP News. This is good reporting. Let me get you this real quick. This is coming from, this is October 25th, that's their time, over in UNEP News. First batch of North Korean troops sent to Russia to support its war in Ukraine has arrived in Russia's western border region near Ukraine, according to Ukrainian media Friday. It says the North Korean military unit was spotted Wednesday, local time, in the war zones in Russia's Kursk region. Again, they're saying the North has to send at least 3,000 soldiers to fight along Russia in the war against Ukraine. Seoul's spy agency said the number of soldiers expected to reach 10,000 by December. And they're ultimately saying up to 12,000 North Korean soldiers are being deployed to Russia, including 500 officers and 3 generals. The report said that the North Korean troops are under the command of Russian Deputy Defense Minister in charge of overseeing the training and the troops' adaptation. They're being provided with ammunition, bedding, winter clothes, and hygiene products. It says including 50 meters of toilet paper and 300 grams of soap every month. They're saying right now 2,000 North Korean soldiers were moving to western Russia after completing the training, citing a Ukrainian military source. So again, that's heating up in the world, along with everything else. Chris Cuomo has been talking to J.D. Vance this evening. Several different clips coming from him tonight. Trump was out in the Mullet Arena at Arizona State. This was earlier, I believe. Let me give you a recap again of the news, especially concerning the military developments in the Middle East. Israel has struck South Beirut minutes after issuing attack warning, with Lebanese state media reporting an airstrike hitting the Chufat area. Hezbollah launches a massive missile barrage targeting an IDF logistics hub between Acre and Nara. The IDF destroys a large underground Hezbollah base used by the Radwan force in the Finger of the Galilee, containing numerous weapons and supplies intended for prolonged operation. We talked about earlier that Russia reported providing satellite targeting data to Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, aiding their missiles and drone strikes on Western ships in the Red Sea earlier this year. We just talked about that North Korea troops have entered the Russia-Ukraine war zone. And then also, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas pushes for BRICS membership during the summit's BRICS session in Kazan, Russia. Elon's reassuring investors with a forecast growth of 20 to 30% in Tesla vehicle sales next year. And you're not going to find a McDonald's Quarter Pounder anytime soon. They pulled the Quarter Pounder from over 2,800 restaurants in affected areas after an E. coli outbreak. Linked to the items that killed one person, sickens nearly 50 across multiple states. Beyonce is set to join Kamala Harris at a Houston rally, if you're interested. A French trader has placed over $28 million on Trump winning the 2024 election through 4 polymarket accounts. Again, Trump floats the idea of eliminating federal income taxes and replacing them with tariffs. That's coming from Mario Knopfel, if you want to check it out. That's kind of the recap of the day. But again, we've been looking at the Middle East. Something is about ready to happen, but it's not happened yet. So we're still in that waiting game, so to speak. We still believe it will happen, and could be a game changer for all of us. But since I'm waiting on them to do their thing, let's talk about the weather for a second, because that's another thing we need to talk about very briefly. Let's see here. Let me get you this real quick here, guys, on the weather. I want to get you a quick update. Again, we talked about this last night, that the entire country has just been, well, there are some storms tonight, but largely it's been really dry. We do have some showers and storms across Minnesota tonight through Minneapolis, a few storms up through Iowa, a few across western Wisconsin, even through central Illinois tonight. And then there's a band of arc of storms across northwestern Missouri through northeastern Kansas, down through Wichita, and up through extreme northern Oklahoma. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, most of the country, again, is really on the dry side. We have been in an unusual dry period across, not just here in Texas, because that does happen, or Arizona, but a lot of you in the country have been really dry, except for the hurricanes that have happened a few weeks back. But now we're just dry. Looking at the longer range models, from what I can tell, I do believe we're going to start seeing a pattern change right around Halloween on. So we may start finally getting some pretty big storm systems. That would kind of a little behind climatologically, but it's going to start ramping up. And sometimes when sometimes they say that you end a drought with a flood. So that could certainly happen. Again, we were expecting probably at most a weak La Nina, which we hope. We don't want it to be strong, or at least those of us down in the south, because that would mean continued drought and bad conditions that could be really a problem by next summer. The problem is when the ground starts drying out, that can lead to some really, really hot, intense summers the following summertime. So you don't want that to happen. You want the ground to stay moist so the sunlight, the sun's trying to get rid of that moisture out of the ground first before it can actually heat up the temperature. But once the moisture is out, then it's just heating away, and that's it. We've had a really intense summers the last few years here in Texas, and don't really want to have that happen again, but it probably will eventually. So we were looking at a pattern change probably about this time next week, guys. We might be dealing with maybe even some severe weather. If not that, right then it probably will be a few days after that. So somewhere by the end of October and into the first week of November, I do see hopefully some sort of pattern change. We could be looking at some bigger storm systems and some movement finally. But we'll keep you updated on that. But that's still about a week away. What else, guys? What do we got here? John Solomon Stevens saying McDonald's points to onions as source of E. coli outbreak. Yeah, we were seeing the reports earlier about the onions. Very interesting. So it looks like what we're getting reports now is and also Burger King pulls onions at 5% of their locations as well. So that could be the source, guys, is the E. coli outbreak. Thanks, Stephen, for that report in here. Let me pull this up. Taylor Farms issued a recall on 4 raw onion products out of an abundance of caution Wednesday because of potential E. coli contamination. Some fast food chains in Colorado, where the highest amount of cases have occurred, have also pulled onions from their menus because of the recall, including Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC. McDonald's on Thursday identified sliced onions as the likely cause of the E. coli outbreak in its quarter pounder. Again, the CDC said it impacted at least 10 states, resulted in the death of at least one older adult. 49 people, I think I've had 50 reports, but 49 they're saying been infected so far. Again, Taylor Farms has issued a recall on 4 raw onion products. Says McDonald's is already facing lawsuits over the outbreak. One client said she purchased a quarter pounder from McDonald's in Nebraska on September 18th. She was forced to seek medical care a couple days later and tested positive for the E. coli strain. Says severe symptoms of E. coli include fevers above 102 degrees Fahrenheit, signs of dehydration, dizzy when standing, dry mouth and throat, reduced urination. UKR report, Stevens down here saying everyone's ready. IDF is ready. Journalists are ready. Partner red. So guys, we're getting closer to the 0 hour with the Middle East. I'm going to do something I've been telling you before that I would like to do. I've got a newsletter up, or we're working on the newsletter as soon as I can find it. Not what I want though. Had it up the other day. Let me see if I can find it in here. Here we go. So if you'd like to subscribe to our newsletter, I'll go ahead and put it in chat. That way, in case we ever, you just want to stay informed, like to grow this over time. So I'm putting that in there. Check it out. Well, I'm just going to put that in there. So that's something that we're working on right now, the newsletter. Again, we can get you reporting, and also just in case anything ever goes down someday, there would still be a way to communicate with everybody, or even if we're down temporarily. Something ever happened, the platforms go down for a while, whatever, we can still get you some sort of alert out. There's still ways to do it, and so check it out if you like. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, everybody. Again, that would be a great backup just in case we get something goes down. Because platforms can go down, even temporarily for a while. It may not even be taken down by the channel. Just the platform could be down for a few days. Even Rumble has times when the platform goes down because of these DDoS attacks. So it would just make sense to have a backup, or even for me to be able to communicate for y'all if I've got an issue and I can't go on for a stream, then at least you would know, and then you can pass it on to everybody. So there's just a way to do it that way. Again, we're just watching the Middle East. Again, the IDF is ready. UKR reports saying. But other than that, again, like last night, it is quiet. Alex Jones is talking about the NATO proxy wars officially escalated out of control, threatening to engulf the planet in a new world war. He's talking about that just in the last 35 minutes or so. Talking about Ukraine being with North Korean troops and potential to end the 1953 ceasefire. There's no doubt in my mind, guys, that things are getting close to biblical. All these nations, it's just strange how all these nations are just really, it's just all the war talk in the last, since late 2021 or so on. Things are in 2022, we've really seen some changes in the world, but we still are waiting for some really big events. We could be on the verge of something historic in a matter of hours or days from now. So we'll keep you updated. But at the moment, again, it's pretty quiet in the Middle East. I don't know if we've got any. What do we got? Do we have? Yeah, our moderators, we don't have a lot of other reports coming in right now. I don't have the cam up, so I haven't heard any. I don't know if there's any booms or not, but I don't think anything's been happening. We had some reports earlier of smoke on some of the cams. We got something just popped up right now. This is Brian breaking news, major incident involving settlers occurring in the northern Gaza Strip. Northern Gaza, we'll keep an eye on that. That just broke about 2 minutes ago. What else, guys? Just kind of looking in here for any other developments. It's pretty quiet. All right, guys. Well, on our YouTube platform, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight. We're going to be keeping an eye on things, and we're doing these updates every night, usually late in the evening. I've been holding off as long as I can until the evening just to see if something might develop. So you would have at least the later, a late evening update to kind of know what's going on. So at least it's almost 8 o'clock Central here in Texas right now. It's still all quiet, which means some of you are on the East Coast. It's already, going on 9 o'clock. So we're pretty late right now. And again, just as a recap for the day, those are kind of the events we've been watching. At the moment, it's still quiet in the Middle East, but it could break out at any moment. So with that in mind, on our YouTube platform, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll be seeing you all tomorrow evening for sure, around the same time, somewhere between 5:30, 6, or even as late as 7. But if something really gets going, breaking, or we got war breaking out in the Middle East, and we'll be doing continual coverage as long as there is coverage to talk about. So with that in mind, I'm signing off now on YouTube. Thanks everybody for watching tonight. Shout outs to Kathy. Good to see you. Desert's in here. Maria is in here. And Black Bear, haven't seen you in a long time. And everybody else that's over on, if I can ever talk, YouTube. It's got so many of them. So let me wrap it up on YouTube, guys. I'll see everybody else on our Rumble and Twitch in just a second, okay? Thanks for watching YouTube. Join us on our other platforms, though, for the rest of the evening. Twitch and Rumble, okay? See you in a bit.